now from Hollywood, California, the horror capital of the world, the Boulet Brothers, creatures of the night.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of the Boulet Brothers Creatures of the Night. Yes, it is a very late episode of the Boulet Brothers Creatures of the Night, and I have to apologize because I know that we did not come out with an episode last week, but I have a good excuse for it. I think that everyone probably saw the news about the projects that we just signed, the deals that we signed for a new season of Titans, season 7, and our Christmas special. We're basically working on all that stuff right now. We're very into it. So we just got distracted and couldn't do the podcast. But we're here today and we're going to cover 2 episodes of season 3 to make up for it.
Keep everybody fed, because I think everybody was getting very used to these like interval weekly feedings of like the drama and the spice and everything that season 3 had to offer. So we're going to do a double serving this week since we missed everybody last week.
Yeah. I also want to talk about our Dead by Daylight collaboration that they just released. They released it at the PAX East, which is a huge gaming conference. It's coming out on July 8th. So for everyone that's been asking us, now you know that is the release date. We've seen the art as you all have now. We know what all the charms look like. We recorded our voices, so you'll be able to actually hear us when you're playing as us. And I hope you all have fun killing people in our outfits.
I know I will. I just got to get good with the artist as a killer, because that's the template for our killer skin. And I'm wondering if they're going to tamper with her lore, because the artist can't speak, like she has no tongue. But you and I were doing like lots of little lines and grunts and like, you know, a Boulet-ism. So I really hope it makes it to the game.
Oh, they are. I mean, that's what they said. They won't use the same audio from the artist. So
yeah, I'm actually just not used to people doing what they say.
Well, I can't wait for it to come out and for everybody to see it. Asia's character looks really cool, too. I'm excited for her. Another thing I wanted to talk about real quick is the newest issue of Hello Darkness, which is issue 10, just came out at comic shops. And it features a special story from us that people from the podcast will probably recognize. It's Granny Hags from Hell.
Yes. Oh, I knew people would appreciate it, but our podcast listeners, I know, would appreciate it double because of how many times we've talked about it.
We threatened to make it a movie, but I think a comic book is the first step.
My favorite comment on the post was Dali, because it was like one of their first ones, and it's like, yay, Granny Hags from Hell finally gets her flowers.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. Stay tuned. All right, everyone, we are back, and we are now joined by Miss Ian.
Yeehaw! I think I done hit my head. I need to go to the hospital of horrors.
Stupid.
I mean, I'm not surprised by that.
Do you actually have to go anywhere to arrive at the hospital of horrors, or is it just sort of like
a liminal space? No, for me, it's a telehealth appointment. I just call in and I just lie about my mental health. And I'm like, oh, no, give me pills.
The drive to the hospital of horrors was so long, wasn't it?
I know. The footage looked great.
Oh, my God. I was actually really surprised looking at it. I was like, wow, I remember that night so vividly.
Bitch, I blocked out so much of this season. When I see it, I'm like, oh, my God, that happened. Oh, damn, girl, that happened. That actually happened.
Yeah, 100%. I think in good ways, bad ways, and also sad ways, I think I have 100% blocked out a lot of the crying. Like, there's so many times I'm like, oh, right, that did happen to that person. Damn. Go home.
Yeah. It's like crying every episode, right?
Yeah. I think Louisiana says it in the reunion, like she's going into tears because it's like, who do you want to win? And she starts talking about being Priscilla's drag mother. And then she starts breaking into tears and she's like, yeah, that's right. God damn it. It is the season of tears and I'm not sorry for it. Or something like that.
It's the season of tears and it's the season of really intense reactionary behavior in Talking Heads.
Yeah, you're not wrong there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think on this cast, maybe more than any other, there are some individuals who are very adept at talking shit behind people's backs and never to their face.
Yeah, absolutely. And some really, I'm going to say, iconic reads in Talking Heads, and then also some like mega flops, but I think that's kind of the magic.
So let's get into this. This is the Boulet Brothers Dragula season 3, episode 6, The Hospital of Horrors. We have our plastic surgery intro. That was cute.
That was fun.
I
Yeah,
don't think
Dr.
it stands
Randall.
the test of time like the other ones do, but there it is.
It's okay.
You know what does stand the test of time, though?
What?
That head has been around the world on stages everywhere. Like Dr. Randall, Mama, Dr. Randall became me.
Yeah, it's true.
Dr. Randall was your stunt double on tour. Dr. Randall was on the cover of Fangoria with the Boulet Brothers, and Dr. Randall made a debut on this episode.
I don't know where that head is, but I know it's somewhere. And it'll pop in my mind like every once in a while that's like, is that repair person going to go in the garage and then this box is going to fall out and the head's going to roll out and they're going to like have a heart attack or something? Or like, I don't know why I think that shit, but I'm like, at some point someone would open the box and see a head that looks 100% real in it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's because let's say you're an electrician and you came to our big old spooky house. As soon as you walk in, you see paintings of like hell and the devils and stuff, and there's like haunted houses and jack-o'-lanterns everywhere. And then you go into the garage and you see a severed head, like you're gonna run.
I don't know. You see the severed head and you're like, horny. Oh my God.
We had have all our armor hanging in a room like from the ceiling, and it's all spiked in red and black. And I walked in and I was like, this looks like some kind of weird hell spider lair, and they're all just hanging from the ceiling,
Yeah.
So creepy. But again, like I had an electrician over that went into that area and was like, oh.
Hello.
We forgot.
Anyway, all right. So the cast comes back into their boudoir. First thing I noticed, I don't know if you all think this is weird. We had the pronoun conversation on another episode, and that was a big issue, and all that. But I noticed that Landon, Eva, and Dahlia all referred to Hollow as she, her. And I never heard any pushback about that. And I thought that was kind of interesting.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I didn't either. But I do think that the pronoun conversation in the season in general is really interesting. Like even kind of projecting later into the season, there's a lot of discussion around Landon being an AFAB performer. And just there's a lot of, oh, well, he, oh, well, she, oh, well, and it just, I think this is really where pronouns were becoming more in like the cultural zeitgeist. Like people were just, and people were exhaustingly serious about it at the time.
We were learning in real time too, because the lexicon was like evolving and people were deeply offended at the time if you got it wrong. And it wasn't even like, oh, I'm trying to be respectful. I'm sorry. It was just kind of like you say the wrong word and it's like you're fried.
You're canceled for life. But that's what I'm saying. It seems like it was pick and choose because I never heard any, pushback on that. But they also go into talking about, Landon had an interesting point about change makers being difficult and that she felt Hollow went down in flames due to not being able to compromise, which I actually agree with. What do you all think of that?
Oh, I totally agree with that too. And in some ways, I actually really respect it. You don't meet a lot of people that are just so passionately singular like that, and they might not be the easiest people to get along with. But when you just look at them from a distance as like a creature, a creation, it's really fiery and powerful.
I think that Hollow is probably one of the most fascinating characters on the show. Like from an audience perspective, I'm not even really sure how to feel about them. Like it's like sometimes I love Hollow and sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I cannot stand this person. And so when Dahlia and Landon are kind of going back and forth, I'm like, damn. I mean, I kind of see both sides of it. It's really weird.
I did too. Yeah, they were disagreeing on that. And Dahlia was talking about how you should use your voice in a way that people can accept. And that's sort of part of being an efficient communicator. And that is a valid point.
You know what else is a valid point? When Landon was giving Dragula its flowers for being up one of the first platforms to feature AFAB performers and really put a spotlight on this underappreciated subculture sort of within a subculture. And of course, I like to hear that.
Me too.
Yeah, Landon is such a champion of the show. I mean, during the season and since, like, love Landon.
Yeah. So this is our first episode without Hollow, and it is certainly less caustic, I guess, right?
I think so.
Yeah. It's interesting. When I watch it back, it's not so much the behavior that made it to the show that was difficult to deal with. It's the stuff that we cut and then the stuff behind the scenes that made it difficult for us to deal with, I think.
Yeah. Ding, ding, ding. Yes, bingo. But I actually think that's extremely common, right? Like even in scripted television, you hear these nightmare stories about like, oh, this director, he's such a nightmare, or this actor is such a diva. And as an audience member, you never see any of that stuff. But if you ask somebody who was there, they're like in full PTSD mode.
Well, I'm going to agree with Ian. Let's cheers to Hollow for being a very interesting character on the show.
Cheers. Darling.
Also, is this the day that the parking lot fight happens?
I don't know. I thought that happened before.
I'm pretty sure it's like it happens around this time, and I know we've alluded to it, but I just was thinking about it this whole episode. I was like, parking lot beat down. Here we go.
Wow.
Like, damn.
I don't think nothing physical actually happened, right? It was just like threatened or something, or there was a confrontation, an argument, right?
Yeah,
there might have been a little push or like a little wig shift. At least in my imagination, there is.
Yeah, I think that the truth lies somewhere in the Swan realm, where I think like cat claws came out. I don't think anyone got hurt, but it was definitely enough to warrant a phone call.
Yeah.
Now, I hate being around physical fighting, and I always have. It just sends a shrill right up my spine. However, I really would have loved to be there that day.
Delete that comment.
I'm like, well, we all got in my car as fast as we could.
Oh my God. All right, so the cast gets their challenge, and it's the Hospital of Horrors, and they also have to do a photo shoot. And they read our feature in Alternative Press magazine, which I thought was kind of cool to see them read it and have it affect them and them draw inspiration from it.
Yeah, I know, I did too. And those were such personal stories too, of stuff that we felt as children. So
yeah.
Yeah, it's really beautiful stuff too. Like I had forgotten how not flowery in a bad way, but just sort of like, I don't know how touching what y'all both wrote in that article was. And I feel like that was one of the first times that audience members and even the cast got to sort of see that side of you. Yeah. Especially, and I love it, but especially given how hard y'all are in Judgment this season. Like yeah. I kind of I'm like, oh my God, Queens of Duality. Yes.
I noticed like if the cast is difficult, our judgment seems to be more pointed, I would say.
I mean, that seems fitting. It's like, I don't know, like, don't be a dick. Or else, like,
Very true. Very true. But it's interesting, like, even rewatching this season, you know, they take it very seriously, which they should. But I think there's definitely times when it's taken too seriously. Like, let's remember, it's just a competition TV show. It doesn't define who you are. Yes, the internet makes your life hell, but they'll get over it eventually and you go on and continue to have a life. I think it definitely affects a lot of them.
Well, we get to the floor show. We see our looks in white, and the Boulets from time to time are known to show up in a white look. What do you think about that, Drac?
I actually don't mind it. I think it's kind of cool. It's. I remember at the time feeling like it was very large and float-like in scale. I was like, I wanted it to just be a cute little tight white thing, but here we are. The wig was obnoxious in a great way.
I wasn't talking about you critiquing Mindy's work. I was talking about us in white as a concept. She's like, actually, the waist was a little high, and I thought the cut could be a little cleaner.
I love the wig.
I would never have a negative critique for Mindy. I'll start by saying that.
Yeah.
Yes.
She is incredible.
Yeah. I like Us in White, honestly. We did it on season 4 and I really liked it. I think we should always do one white look a season.
And we even had the one standout, the one promo picture, like one of these things is not like the other where we're not wearing black and red, which was season 2. We were wearing white.
That didn't happen. I erased that picture from existence.
It's a blemish on the wall of the cast photos.
It sure is.
Oh
You know,
my-
one thing I wanted to talk about before we talk about the floor show was Louisiana talking about her experience with her mom at the doctor's office.
Yeah.
What did you think of that, Ian?
I think that that is the emotional crux of the episode. And I know that I have famously said that I'm not a huge fan of when the cast sort of have these, I'm going to call other ones outbursts. Like this to me is so genuine and so real. And the story that Louisiana shares is, I think, for a lot of queer people, I mean, that is pinnacle fear. And to see the way that Louisiana has sort of come out of that and how positive she is, like, it's really inspiring. I don't know. This episode is really, I guess it is kind of a sad episode, or at least sort of like what happens in it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you might be right, though. This episode has sort of an emotional wave that flows through the whole thing. And I think it's set off right here in this moment when Louisiana just has this heartfelt admittance.
I'll tell you something weird. You know, I grew up in the South and literally the exact same thing happened to me.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I had a bad flu or something. They took me to the doctors. I was like a teenager, I don't know, 15 something. And the doctor like separated me and was like asking me weird questions. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? And then it's the same thing. Like, you need to get a blood test. And I was like, oh. So yeah, it was really, so I related to that story because it was not an unusual thing to happen in the South.
Wow.
He's lucky he wasn't Dr. Randall.
Yeah,
Fucking rip his
maybe
head
he
off.
was. Maybe that was my revenge.
Yeah.
I mean, that was fine, which pissed me off because I'm like, now, do you want to talk about what kind of flu I actually had?
Right. We were like, oh man, all those straight boys shouldn't have been doing that. Damn.
Damn. All right, so let's talk about the floor show. I think it holds up. I think they look great. I think they have a lot of original concepts. And I actually, in retrospect, think Louisiana Strangled Nurse was a lot of fun.
For me, Madeline was giving a little bit more than I remembered. I don't know if I loved the look necessarily, but I loved the way that she was showing it off. Landon is just incredible, I think, period. But you can see it here in this floor show, like 1,000%. All of the Landon hallmarks of a floor show in her performance are just there. And I thought Priscilla's makeup also stood out as like, wow, you know what? I think that deserves some love again.
You liked it so much, you put her in the bottom.
Well, I did like the makeup.
Yeah, I think that stands. I do want to say for Priscilla, in retrospect, I think that this is one of those moments on the show where it happens every season. And in season 5, I mean, Neo really pushes this particular thing like 100 times, but every season has a moment that I think pushes the show's freak meter like one notch further. And that fetal cow is so hardcore. And I just, the look itself, unfortunately, I mean, it's so basic, but when Priscilla came out with that cow and watching it again, I'm like, holy shit, there is no show like Dragula.
Priscilla is fucking hardcore, period.
Hell
like
yeah.
Even still today, like her core is punk.
Yeah, I think so too. Any other looks that you all thought stood out in a positive or negative way for you on a rewatch? I'll say I'm not super impressed with Dahlia's look on this episode.
Yeah, I agree. I don't love Dahlia's look. I do love Drax's critique of Dahlia's look. The like purple, wait, hold on. I think I wrote the purple bloomers. I was like, girl, what the fuck? Like, so funny, so good. I think that Eva really gets saved by the performance here, especially after Millie Shapiro, CSI Miami, reads her down for the tights, which I live for.
Yeah.
And Landon is such the clear winner in this challenge. I mean, there are some really incredible drag artists, of course, but when Landon came out as that doctor, I was like, ooh.
That's the thing. Like, I think that's one really good positive about this season is the looks were really interesting. The floor shows are fun to watch too. They have a different flavor every episode. They're sort of edited in a different style almost, which is to Nathan's credit because he really changed the vibe of each one, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I noticed that too, and I appreciate it.
Yeah. So then we go into the extermination, which we have our Operation Shot Game, which I loved. I thought it was so fun. And my only thing to talk about that is that Madeline just kept taking the shocks and it seemed like it didn't affect her. And I don't understand why.
I mean, literally like a bull. I was like, what is happening?
She just like, and she just kept going. She was like, she just didn't stop. Whereas Priscilla was like, and stopped for a second and then started again.
Oh, I thought she was hilarious.
Remember, Vander actually built that operation game.
I remember.
Yeah, Vander was doing production design on the show then and built that. I think she did a great job with it.
Me too. And I remember that day kind of vividly. It was very fun. We were in that like weird warehouse. And when Vander revealed the table, I was like, oh my God, this is so cute. And yes, it works. I love it. And it was just, and then Madeline was being so hilarious. Like I remember a lot of laughs that day.
Totally. There's one line from Madeline that I cannot say in full because it'll get the episode demonetized, but it's towards the end. She goes, "That's a lot of wire, girl." And she goes, "Oh, bitch." And it's just so like, what is this show? Like, what am I fucking looking at? Like, I'm a slutty nurse who eats people. Okay, duh. Like,
I will say she looked hot in that outfit. I think she was giving sex kitten, evil nurse energy.
Oh wait, is this Baby Tumble surprise episode?
Oh, you brought it up. This is Madeline takes a tumble. We face right now.
We
I'm just surprised you're talking about it because you were the one that made the deal.
Well, hey, I've honored that deal. There's no footage out there yet. Madeline, you better watch it. No, everybody knows. Like we edit to make our competitors look great. We want the best moments of them. But there was one moment that was not so good for Madeline's floor show that later became known as Madeline's Baby Tumble surprise. And I'll just leave it there.
I'm going to go one step further. I love Madeline. I think Madeline gives like pilled out MILF a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like just kind of like says off color shit and like is like just kind of like, I don't have a character. I'm just hot. But like in this one, I really felt for her in that floor show because I think Madeline kind of knew that like the sand in the hourglass was running out. And so she just started doing weird stuff on the stage. Like, when she took a tumble and I was like, oh, okay. I think it might be time to go.
An acrobatic move was attempted and then we'll just leave it there.
And speaking of ways to go, this was kind of a great moment of synergy, I think, in Dragula history with Millie Shapiro there, this driving and beheading death of Madeline, homage, obviously, to Hereditary. And I thought it was cool. I think it stands up. There's a detail about this shooting day that I think is just funny.
Oh, yeah.
And we're filming Madeline in the car. And we have to simulate movement, Part of that is like the movement of the car, kind of like rumbling wind sort of like coming at the car. But the fog that we wanted to establish the moody environment. And we're like, fuck, oh my God, we don't have the fogger. We don't have the fogger.
It didn't work or something, right? Like
something happened where it either backfired, whatever. Like we had no fog machine. And Casey, one of the producers on the show, is like, well, I have this Juul. I mean, I guess I could just vape. And we're like, let's try it. And it totally worked.
Amazing. Oh my God.
Damn. I mean, I was sad to see Madeline go, but I think Madeline is such a great character on the show. She's great TV too. She's one of those people I think that have a really engaging personality. And, is she going to bring these mind-blowing kind of looks? She's not going to like break the mold or anything like that. But as a character, she brings a lot to the show and she's fun.
Yeah, it sort of is like her performance personality too. Like, I don't think that Madeline is a practice queen. I don't think that Madeline is like a choreo queen, but I do think that Madeline is an energy queen on stage.
I think you're right that she was like, oh, I need to do something here. And she's like, I'm just going to go crazy and take a wild chance.
I remember on tour when we were in it's like the UK or those couple of Europe dates, and there was a moment in Madeline's performance where I think one of the first nights she just decided to do kind of like this jumping move, like throwing up her arms and sort of like jumping in place, and it blew the crowd's mind somehow. Like they were all activated and like super pumped. So she did it every night, and it was fun. Like she really is that energy performer.
Do you remember when Madeline was an energy vampire at that
do.
one show?
So one night Saint went out and got up on the bar in the venue and was performing. Madeline saw it, immediately did the same thing, and then proceeded to do it at every venue after.
Oh, Madeline.
Anyways, we should go on to episode 7 since we're doing 2 episodes tonight. So this is the Boulet Brothers Dragula season 3, episode 7, titled Le Freak, which I don't know if that was actually ever the title. I'm realizing as I'm looking on Shudder and rewatching these that the titles are all screwed up, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. We had to call it something. I think back then we had to submit the names of the episodes, but we didn't want to because they would get released to the public, and then of course Reddit would scour it, and they're like, I know all the challenges. The episode was just named after the challenge, so we were like, let's kind of throw curveballs and obscure what the theme might be.
Girl, you're reminding me about all of the release drama of this season, because this was the season where we were on, it was coming out on Amazon and I can't remember, it was like, yeah, Amazon and something else at the same time, and 2 episodes at a time, and then the wrong episode, oh my God, I completely blocked that shit out.
I forgot about that, and then they would release it early or super late.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was a mess.
Dark times.
The dark
times. That was the product of the show airing in multiple countries at the same time, and it was pinging on Amazon's radar as like duplicates, or because it wasn't coming from the same network, because different networks licensed it. So that was a mess.
Let's talk about this intro for a minute, because I love it. I actually really want to revisit this fortune teller character that we play, this sort of like conjoined or like connected fortune teller twins, or whatever you want to call it. I think it's totally unappreciated, and the inhale of the smoke and the exhale out of your mouth. And just the story, right? This is the nurse that was sedating us in the opening of the season. And you see the flashback, get them out of my sight. This is us getting our revenge. And I thought it was so fun.
Yeah, I had completely forgotten about the nurse tie-in, because I remembered, I was like, oh yeah, like this is the fortune teller, like yes. Because also these are such a weird like F slur moment for me of like just being like such a fan of y'all's drag. You wear these green contacts in this one that like you hadn't worn. This is the first time you ever wore them. And I remember they became kind of a staple from you do like appearances that were like less kind of like full Boulet glam. Yeah. And I just love them. I think they look great.
I loved those lenses too.
Yeah. Being a complete homosexual aside, when I saw the nurse come back, I was like, oh shit, this is this intro. Were we all smart? Like, were we all like smart and cool?
We were like scripting this show, the house.
We were smart, but this is the time of, okay, the cinematic portions of the show get decided, activated, planned, and executed the last week of production, and nobody had thought about it before then. So the inconsistencies in the storytelling, but also it's a bit random, but I think it tells an interesting story. I know how it was supposed to culminate was in basically draining blood from each of the contestants. That was the plan. At least remember we were going to do that, and then it ran down this thing, and then that's the blood that dumps on the winner of the show. But,
oh my God,
this is the one, I believe, like the whole story for season 3, as the Boulets have been gone for 2 years. They murdered all these people in seasons 1 and 2, incarcerated and sedated. They come back, they build back their strength and power, form a coven, kill them all, raise power, then bring Vander and Bitch, like our winners, and we do that homage to the craft and crown a new super monster, which I thought was, that's still cool. Like I'm still into it.
So we get into challenge issuing, which we tell them is the Freakshow, and they must perform a circus act, which we're going to revisit later in this conversation. And we get into a Priscilla versus Dahlia battle.
Yes. Before we get there, I want to say this. Listening to our challenge issuing and stuff, I really love our vernacular, like the way that we were delivering lines, like the scripting. I think on this season is pretty good.
I love challenge issuing for the season. I'm gonna say it's my favorite look, but I do also think it's the most extreme that y'all have ever looked on the show, and I think that's probably why it's my favorite. Like, it's so just like bam, and the lighting was finally correct for challenge issuing, so I just like really appreciate it.
Yeah, same.
It's true. I love that look a lot. I like that. It's too bad I can't wear it because it doesn't stay out very well.
Yeah.
But
back to the Dahlia and Priscilla thing. I don't remember this relationship being so crazy. Like I don't remember all the animosity, the levels, because when they go at each other, it's not just like swipe. Like I feel like there was like a 15-minute segment of the show where they were just like at each other's throats.
Girl, when Priscilla brings up, not only like she brings up the Key and Madeline and is basically like, you should have gone home then, but then one of the most insane reads on the show, she goes, you're coasting and you're just an off-brand Victoria.
Yes, I wrote that down too.
Bitch! Like, I mean, that's some shit. Like, I wish I could have been a fly on the wall. Oh wait, I was. And like, holy fuck.
But Dahlia, she's really poignant. Like, she makes good points, but the delivery is intense. I think is a good way to say it. And it definitely rubs people the wrong way, is what I think. Yeah.
I think that Dahlia also has this tactic when it comes to arguing that I just can see, I'm like, oh, you are that kind of bitch, where it's like, instead of getting loud, they get quiet, and it just starts to piss people off. Like, you can just see, like, Priscilla wants to fight, and Dahlia's just like, well, okay, girl, and like, oh, that's really rich. Like, she just gets this like really bitchy air to her. I'm like, oh, this is so violent.
Yeah, which with someone like Priscilla is just going to infuriate her more.
Yeah, exactly. Eva and Louisiana even get in on that too. Like, it becomes like a really big thing. Like, then we get this conversation, which this conversation always is so annoying. The like making stuff versus commissioning things, and sort of like, you know, like how much of your drag do you have to make? And I think that becomes kind of a sticking point for everyone, which is interesting because Dahlia is really talented. Like, that bitch makes a lot of her stuff, but
she knows how to sew.
Yeah, she knows how to do hair. She knows how to do prosthetics. Like, Dahlia is very talented.
Yeah, but I didn't remember the cast all turning on her.
No, I didn't either. And we see this, I think it's on this episode, where it's like, girl, who do you think is going to be in the top 3? Oh, who do you want in the top 3 with you? And literally, of all the combinations, no one picks her. I think they underestimate her too.
Yeah. And then even Landon says a thing too, which I'm like, one thing I love about Landon is super smart and also a little shady. Like, he knows how to like get down with like the girls and like backstage, but he doesn't often. He like saves it. And there's this moment where it's like, Dolly says like, oh, well, you know, I'll just keep doing this and this and this and this. And Landis goes, and being an asshole.
There was some live performance. Maybe you guys can help me remember. I think it was around this time. Landon was definitely with us. I want to say it was like a weird city in California. I don't know if it was Fresno. We were in Long Beach. I don't know. But we were all doing shots of tequila, and Landon was like a push. Like, Landon was hardcore, like slamming them back, instigating people to take more, like pushing it. And we had a blast. It was really fun.
I think it was Chicago, I want to say.
That's where I remember it. But
okay.
That was after season 4, because I remember there were a couple of people backstage for that one. But Landon does love to drink. Landon loved tequila.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
So this is also the episode where Dahlia delivers one of our most quoted lines, which is "stretch before you reach."
Yes.
I mean, we were saying that for a hot minute.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh,
let's just be honest. Like, Dahlia basically decapitates Priscilla in the verbal battle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if we're ready to move on to Drax, or part of the show, creatives, but I have pulled a swan for this episode. I have written a full quote out, if I may. This is my favorite.
You must share.
So this is Dahlia Black. So do 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 do. So I was really inspired by my big tits that I like to wear in drag. And I've been really inspired by needles. So I'm doing a strong tit woman who lifts objects with her tits. So I'll be piercing my tits and hanging objects from them. A plus, Dahlia. No notes. Perfect concept. Congratulations. Like, what are you talking about, girl? Like, what?
I'm really inspired by my tits.
Iconic.
Love it.
I will say Victoria does make gigantic breastplates.
Bazongas, mama.
Remember the one she made for us? I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, like this is obscene.
I've worn those too. Yeah, those were. I don't know. For some reason, I was like, I'm sorry, did these suit me? Like, wait, what?
God.
I just remember you on Titan.
Yeah.
Coco's giant, when she wore that giant wrestler breastplate.
Coco's Ugly Ladies of Wrestling Titties. I had that video on my phone and I cannot find it. Oh, I want it. Oh my God. I don't know where it is.
So
So
good.
funny.
You were getting your life. You were so over all of them, and you're just like, I'm gonna put this tip plate on and go dance around on the stage by myself in the dark.
I'm just gonna bounce these jugs and put myself in a good mood.
It worked.
Hey, you know what? Listen, I'm known for the cry closet, and I just know, like, if I need to cheer myself up, I'm like, I'll figure out a way to do it. Like, Coco, can I borrow that breastplate? No reason, honey. Putting it
Like,
on.
what's it gonna be today? Should I put on Coco's breastplate or go devour the snack table?
I'm sorry. If you don't think that I did not also visit craft services whilst wearing the breastplate, honey, she's a big girl. She needs to eat.
What do you think was in the breasts? So we get to the floor show intro. We have this leopard look with huge eyebrows, but done really well. I like that.
Yes.
I know Ian is a fan when we push all of the levels on our character creation screen to 10. But season 3 is notoriously known as a season of eyebrows, and bitch, we were representing with this look. Holy shit.
For me, it's the season of the lip. I'm like, bring it down.
Yeah. I love it though. I do kind of love it. I didn't like looking at us in this look because my body temperature was rising looking at us sitting there because we were just covered.
Yeah.
Head to toe. And this was the year the air conditioning broke on set.
Yeah.
Which just, oh my God.
God, there was, yeah.
We still have that outfit. I have never worn it another time since then.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like that'd be a cool, I mean, the memories of that day aside, that outfit is fierce. Like, y'all look fucking amazing.
Yeah. I want to sell all our old outfits. I can't wear them twice because you can't wear something on a show 2 times. And some of the stuff you can't wear on a tour, or a performance. So I'm like, I need to get rid of some of this. Anyways, so what did you all think of the floor show?
I thought Dahlia's titty waist was fucking camp, mama. Like, I was like, this is campy. This is campy and only like possible on Dragula.
Exactly. Basically, my feelings down to a T. I wrote down cool set from Landon. This was definitely the year of the floor shows were trying to expand in a way, and Landon really pushes the boundaries of what do we consider the floor show, which I think is really cool. He's very conceptual like that. And this look and also the episode 6 Hospital of Horrors look make me kind of consider Landon's thought process of like, we're doing the freak show. Landon is not a performer. Landon owns the freak show. We're doing hospitals. Landon is a doctor. And of course, like, there is gender that's kind of like, you know, kind of mixed up in that. But I just think that Landon's approach to the challenges, even though the execution sometimes is not always the winner, is really smart. Like, he always presents as powerful, which I just think is a really good move for him.
That's a good point. Yeah, you're right. And I think, again, like, the look was well thought out. Like you said, it was cool. It was original. The gag, I was kind of, you know, I mean,
however, like, someone needs to go back and rethink that a few times. Because I'm seeing like banana, 3 cocks, break a glass over your head and chew on it. What is the story?
The glass eater. Like, I get it. Like, that happened at the circus. The thing is, when we told them what this challenge was, I thought it was clear that we wanted them to actually do the freak show things. Like, I want you to really staple yourself, or I want you to really pierce yourself, or walk on coals, whatever it is. Everyone on Dragula, well, not everyone, but back then, most of them had some kind of thing like that they would do in a club, some sort of extreme performance element. And yeah, all of them were completely fake.
No, but not Priscilla's though.
Not Priscilla, yeah.
She did that pinhead nail into the nose thing.
Yeah.
Which just watching it was scary.
Yeah.
For sure.
That was one thing watching this one back. And I agree with the critiques of it just is too clean, especially for this character and everything else. It just is too clean. But I was shocked. I was like, wow, like that, especially considering the tap dancing act. I was shocked.
So that was the other thing I was shocked about as well, which was Eva thought tap dancing equated to a freak performance. And I am still confused by that thought.
I could kind of understand it. It seems almost like traveling circus is vaudeville era, young girl who's actually like a freak because she's like this conjoined twin, entertains the crowd, but she's also grotesque. So it's a combination of like cuteness and sort of a grotesquerie, right? But it definitely was not like a freak feat.
Yeah, you'd almost want it to be like, if you're a conjoined twin, not to just rewrite history here, but I'm like, okay, if your character is the conjoined twin and you're going to tap dance, then bring out like your conjoined twin also has like tap shoes and like they tap too or something. But regardless, it is a little cutesy, I think. Yeah. And I know I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but this is where the season starts to get a little mystifying for me, in the sense that like I genuinely think I had blocked it out, because I'm watching and I'm like, damn, I can't believe Louisiana goes home this episode. Like, this is I like, wow, oh my God. Like, I feel like she like looks pretty good. And like, I don't know. I feel like Eva doesn't look that great. And then we get through Judgment. I'm like, oh, wait, that's not this episode. This is actually a lot of surprises for me.
It is for me too. Like watching it back, I was like, oh my God, Eva went home. Like I was like, now I think that was us saying, it doesn't matter what your track record is. If you fumble the ball, you're out. And that's what happened. But looking back on it, I'm like, wow, Eva's such an incredible drag artist. And so I was just surprised that that's how she went out.
I agree. I want to reiterate something Ian said. I actually thought Lou's look deserved some more flowers upon a rewatch. Like, it may not have been the biggest look, but it was very well put together. The tailoring, I liked the burlesque kind of like pasty tassel twirling with like the three-titted freak lady. Like, I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of one of those things, right? Where it's like you're at that point where everyone's doing well, and what are you going to do? And it's taste too. I mean, I think Vander was a huge fan of Louisiana's look that episode. It's all for the judges' opinions weighing in, and sometimes the outcome is quite strange. Obora winning and losing the same episode, for example.
Yeah. Wild shit happens in Dragula world. Speaking of looks that you're a fan of, I'm a fan of Vander's look on this episode. I thought it was very cool, sort of like surreal and almost mystic in some ways. Like, I really liked it.
Hell
Vander
yeah.
is such the elder statesperson of Dragula, I feel like, and like a fine example of a winner for the show. I think they're always really thoughtful, and their critiques and their delivery's good. It's always a pleasure to be around them.
Yeah, I thought too in this episode, Vander almost sort of goes against something that I have said previously of like, I think it's a little bit difficult to expect judges to just know everything, get all the references. Vander comes in with this Rolodex of information and is like, she's like, this is this Pisiolo Santa Sangre. Like, she just is like all these references going. I'm like, oh, damn. I just thought that she really represented herself very well and represented the show very well in this episode. I was really happy.
I was like, Vander, they ain't this smart, okay?
Like,
they did not see the 1936 Freaks. They did not see Santa Sangre.
On the Cheeks Cray, girl. Like, stop.
But she was right. I mean, I saw all those references in those looks. So, all right, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to answer all of your listener questions.
All right, my darlings, we have returned, and Ian is prepared, poised to reach her little bejeweled and be-nailed claws into our bag of mail to answer all of your listener questions. Ian, would you do the honors?
I've actually stapled all listener questions to myself. Alex writes, I know y'all see all. How do y'all feel about when forum sites and fandom goes into disappearance watch? Does it affect how you look at the future season? Do you ever change course if the fans get too close?
I have not looked at that stuff for years and years and years, and I refuse to, and I won't. I think it's just bad for your mental health. So I just exist in a vacuum and I don't see it. But in the past, yes, that has affected casting decisions. There are people that have been cast and then removed from the cast. There are people that would never be allowed on the show because of some of that stuff. I really just wish that fans would not do that for the artist's own sake, because you're toying with someone's career in a way.
My feelings are a little different. I'm coming at it from the perspective of the creator. And at first I was very annoyed. I just didn't expect this kind of aspect of the fan base to want to spoil and discover what we weren't ready to share as the person creating like the thing that we wanted to share. And that really kind of got on my nerves because it was an element we couldn't control. But in the years we've been doing the show, I've come to accept that as just like part of the experience of television in general. It's not just us, and it's a small portion of our fans. Like these are like the hardcore, super passionate people that are digging deep into disappearances and stuff like that. So I don't let it bother me at all anymore.
You're right. I mean, I think that's a good way to look at it, because every show that is successful or popular has these kind of things happen with it, and everyone's trying to figure it. They just love the show. But I'm always just like, be sure you don't love something so much that you crush it.
Yeah, love it to death.
Yeah.
Michael from Orlando writes, I asked if there would be another Halfway to Halloween, and you said there would be one in 2025. Sad to not see it on the Shudder Halfway to Halloween lineup. So, how are you celebrating the halfway mark?
So we're celebrating the halfway mark by creating a Holiday of Horrors Christmas special for you. So yes, there was going to be another Halfway to Halloween, but we decided to pivot to Christmas because I just think it's gory and gluttonous, and I just love it. I love everything about a gaudy Christmas and mixed with horror and blood and guts.
Agreed. Like there's a sweet spot with holidays mixed with horror. It's such a moment. There's not a ton of it out there. And we did have the choice to do kind of like our second incarnation of Halfway to Halloween, but decided to put that energy into a project that was a little different, and it actually inspired us. So we were happy to make that change.
Uneko asks, I too am having similar feelings like yours rewatching the season with your commentary. I remember initially when watching season 3 thinking, what a shit show. Rewatching it again, let me rephrase, a glorious emotional train wreck shit show. I love how juicy and tense it is, especially with Hollow's nuclear codes. Hollow may have dominated the first half, but her personality was the TNT for a lot of great commentary, which leads me to this. In the boudoir meltdown after Judgment, didn't Hollow make some reference to coked out judges? Am I making this up? Did you cut it because of competitors' requests or because it lacked relevance? I remember when I first heard it, I was like, whoa, get your digs in before extermination.
This is so funny because I think because of this recap, we have now made it to the reunion, which we'll be reviewing on the next episode. And the flashback is there. You see the coked out whores comment straight from Holler's mouth on the show. We didn't cut it completely.
But I'm remembering, I know, because I saw it too, and I'm like, wait a minute. I think they said it twice, because one time was when they were behind the wall and busted through with the Eva Destruction thing. But then there was this time was more said in like, it wasn't as angry, it was like something coked out whores. And I don't mean that in a nice way. And I'm like, wait a minute, did it happen twice? Maybe it did.
Who knows?
I don't know, but I also love the idea of coked out whores in a nice way.
All right, everyone, that's all we have for this episode of the Boulet Brothers Creatures of the Night. Make sure you join us next week when we will be discussing the Boulet Brothers Dragula Season 3, Episodes 8 and 9. And make sure you go out and get your copy of Hello Darkness now and get your tickets for the Boulet Brothers Dragula Season 6 tour. You can get them at dragulalive.com.
The Boulet Brothers Creatures of the Night is hosted by the Boulet Brothers with their co-host and producer, Ian DeVogler, with music by Neuron Spectre.